being here, and you thought this was going to be your year, and now you're here not being able to run for the title?
Yeah, just here doing my job, just like you.
What's that
Are you
like?
running for the immediate Final Four?
I've eliminated long time
I put you in the
ago.
Final Four.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome.
What did you make of the truck race last night?
That was a mess. Y'all all saw it. That was terrible.
What would you, if NASCAR, let's say, pulled all the drivers into a room and had you say something to all the truck drivers, what would you say?
I mean, just, I don't think, I don't know that you can voice anything. You just have to come down and make penalties for obvious reasons. I mean, it's realistically why the Clash is, a debacle as well. I mean, it's why Martinsville Xfinity is a debacle, and it's just, you see it and then you go do it. And so it's, it's just part of it. And certainly when you have a one race, you win, you're in, it creates those atmospheres as well, which I think was intended, but certainly the drivers are taking it, a bit far now.
Denny coming up to the top level, so what do you think he needs to do in the next 3 months?
Maybe it's just, he has to get better. I mean, that's the biggest thing. It's just get better than what he is right now.
Do you think, they just send people to the back for aggressive driving?
Yeah,
Is that as simple
that's
as
what they do in the local short tracks. Yeah, I don't understand. It shouldn't be that hard. And I guess the fine line is, well, for instance, someone said, well, what about Carson? Would that be a fraction? I'd say no. That would be a racing incident. Some of these are blatant enough that you can see that someone's hit someone and they kept pushing. Those are the types of incidents you just, you penalize. But we're never going to get there. I don't think NASCAR is ever going to make that change. And my opinion of it is that it's, it's not even a short-term gain anymore. Sure, it gets some people on social media talking, but we're not having more viewers because of this chaos that we've created.
If this was, if yesterday was someone's first race watching, what impression did yesterday give off to anyone, looking to get into this sport?
Well, it's hard to take it seriously. I mean, it's hard to take seriously, honestly. I mean, that's just if you're a raw sports fan. I mean, I don't know how you, could say, well, wait a minute, so that guy just knocked the other guy out of the way and it's not a penalty? It's, I saw some, kind of correlations to people are saying, like, taking all the rules out of football where you can hold, you can do whatever you want to do. Like, it's just gotten a little out of hand. But it's, the drivers are doing it, and NASCAR's not doing it. But sometimes you have to adapt to what you're seeing out there. And certainly if you deem that it's not pushing our sport forward, I think you should do something about it. And I don't think last night pushed our sport forward.
Thank you. If
So
Carson
you-
reached out to go ahead.
You've seen enough playoff, and kind of the officials look the other way during the playoffs. Is that what we're getting, or is this happening more than just inside our 10-race playoff system?
Yeah, it's more than that for sure. You see it during these cutoff races and whatnot the most. But yeah, it's happening in the local short. It trickles down because the younger generation is obviously watching us, and the Cars Tour is making great strides and penalizing drivers for intentionally wrecking others. And if they can do it with the infrastructure they have, I'm not sure why we can't, with all the cameras and officials that we have, do something about it. It's just, I'm on a soapbox right now, but I hate seeing our sport look as bad as it did last night. And there's hard pressed to find anybody that would agree that that was a good look.
Wait, have you brought this to NASCAR's attention and in individual conversations? And if you have, what is their feedback to you when you bring up this idea?
And did it come up in the drivers' meeting today that you all...
No one even said a word about it. It's like it's never even happened. But no, I spoke to Jeff about it, asking, is there something that can be done? And he's like, well, where's the line? Well, I don't know. Just make a line. It's no different than the restarts, right? There's no really defined car numbers. You can be laying back, but eventually, if you get a call, people know that it's too much. I need to tighten it up here, and so it just takes a few calls here and there to send people to the back that they'll never recover from because you're not going to pass back. That it'll get their attention. And I think Clash could be a good opportunity to start doing that, and because the Clash, as you've seen, it's just. That was a joke as well.
Is it time to talk to OD or Steve or?
Yeah, I'm open to having those conversations, but clearly they know where I stand via X.
Denny,
What is it like a year later here? And obviously a horrible day for the organization, for Joe, and last year at this time. Your thoughts a year later, and just when you think about that morning last year, what comes to mind?
Yeah, it certainly is, and we know that, you know, I can't get in Ty's mind or anything like that, but certainly it has to have some sort of effect. You know, I think he does a really good job of just focusing in and honing in on his job, and you know, obviously that the organization looks a lot different now than what it did 1 year ago. But yeah, I could just try to sympathize and empathize, but I'll never understand for sure.
Denny, this was the year of Denny in so many ways, from the podcast to the controversies to the race wins to you being a contender, the fan reaction, all this stuff. What are you going to remember about the season for yourself?
I think it was kind of a microcosm of my whole career, honestly. You know, I feel like, you know, again, we can go over year by year, but every year there's been some sort of kink in the playoffs that has kept us from either moving on or you know, winning a championship. Again, I wish we didn't have mechanical failures. I wish it wasn't a part of our sport. I wish everyone just had the same equipment and, you know, it was durable and nothing ever broke. And if you ran bad, it's your fault, right? I wish that's the sport we had, but it's not. And, you know, I had a crazy 0.1% chance of what happening, and it did. And so I can only control what I can control, but it to me, it feels like, you know, I don't lose any motivation behind it because I'm still going to try to win every single week, but it's, you know, there's a luck factor, and I know Chris hates it, but it's, you know, all of our team cars had the same issue, but theirs didn't do what mine did. And so it's crummy that, you know, I wish that there was a larger sample size for sure, but it's not, and I've just got to live with it.
So how would you grade your season?
I would grade our season at probably a B+. I think certainly we could have more race wins. You know, 3 race wins. Most people would take that, but it's not up to our standards. Certainly thought that there was more speed. I mean, again, the loose wheel at Darlington, that was a layup race. I couldn't have lost that race with my eyes closed, but it happens. It's just stupid stuff that happens, and then the late race caution at Kansas. I mean, if we get 5+ wins, I'm going to put it at an A, only A- because you didn't make the final 4. But I know in the things that I can control, I feel really satisfied and content with the result and what we've put on the racetrack. That's why that every single week we're a contender that is you're going to have to beat. You know, we're not just hit and miss every now and then and disappear for 15 races and then all of a sudden we come back. It was a steady season for us from beginning to end. I thought we put together a nice one.
If Carson were to reach out to you for image rehabilitation help before next season, what would you tell him?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not really sure, right? It's hard to get in someone's head and understand what the thinking process is, but you know, just trying to understand the thought process. That's all that I would inquire about, and then try to give advice from there.
He was
It's
very.
called the Sympathy Act bullshit.
I agree with that. I think that it's like, I agree with Truex. I'll leave it at that.
Respect. In this race, often we see that the title contenders, they've obviously moved fast, but maybe they get a little more of a break. Is there still that respect level? You've been on both sides of it, or is it changing? And obviously, with this track, like on those restarts, you can go 5 wide, 6 wide. You know, if you were a title contender, I could put you in a bad spot.
Sure.
Is there that, and how do you race these guys?
Yeah, I mean, it starts probably 5 races ago when it gets to the point of the season where it's really about performance and you got to perform really well, that you see teammates racing their teammates one way and then the field the other way. You don't see that for the bulk of the season. Honestly, I think everyone's kind of fair in that sense. And not saying it's not fair, they're trying to help the team. But yeah, certainly here, right, if Seabell's right behind me, I mean, sure, am I going to race him hard? Absolutely not, right? But if there's someone else, I'm going to race hard and try to keep my position. So it's just part of teammate racing. When you have multiple cars under one roof, that's kind of what you're going to have. And likely will lead to these guys morphing their way to the front because of all the teammates letting the guys go up there and race. Yeah, I mean, I certainly echo a lot of people's comments on Kevin and the respect factor that he has. I think that's probably the one word that always comes up with him is respect. I think he earned it on and off the racetrack. Yeah, he's a dying breed when it comes to racing style and all that stuff. Me, him, and Truex, kind of the older group of drivers out there, but you learn a lot from them. Certainly in my career, I've learned. I've been terrible at some racetracks, and Kevin's the first guy that I kind of pay attention to and study to figure out how to get better. So he was, to me, an unbelievable. He's a unicorn type of talent that can perform and qualify well inside the top 10 at whatever age he is. Like he's defying odds, certainly, and you can only hope that your career can be that successful with that far into it.
What kind of advice would you give to a rookie coming in next year?
It's the same as I give to Ty. It's just do the best you can to, not create any enemies and understand, give and take. It's the deposits and withdrawals with people out there, and certainly, like when they have incidents with Joey or whatnot, just trying to lean, say, hey, be the first hooks in the olive branch, and so certainly I think everyone's out there to prove themselves, and everyone's trying to keep their ride, and it just kind of depends on what type of situation you're in, but it's always performing better than what your car is capable of each week. That's always going to lead to success.
What does it mean for your organization to have a tie-in with a franchise such as Star Wars, even if it's for one race?
Yeah, that's a big one for sure. I just have to credit the 2311 group and Shannon Hooper over there and Jamie Ruiz, the whole team for coming up with these crossovers. Every week I'm pleasantly surprised. I don't see it until probably 2 weeks before you guys do. But it's exciting to see the crossovers they've been able to create with the partners we've had, and it's creating that brand return on investment, right? It's look how many, if you look at the engagement of the 2311 account versus most all other NASCAR teams, it's just really, really high, right? And that's when prospective sponsors come and look to see where they're going to spend their money and which team. Hopefully that's a needle mover for them when we're able to do great things like this, and we certainly have a younger audience following our team than other teams do, so it's all positive.